You cannot take good care of something that you don't know well. And if you've done anything in your life that requires attention or commitment, this might even be a truth that is already embedded into your hands. If you like yoga or gardening, or if you like cooking, you know that the exact same recipe with the exact same ingredients will not end up being the same pie if you do it with haste or disdain, or if you do it with care and attention. To participate properly in the world we live in, we need to engage into this very special kind of knowledge. And now that we remember this, we can wonder, why would we expect companies to take good care of their environment if they are deprived of the ways to know it? I am a sociologist who works with corporations. My obsession is the social bond. But for the last 15 years, I have witnessed firsthand how companies, often at their very own expense, have had a negative impact on it. So when you see human-made organizations having a negative impact over the very cities humans are supposed to live in, it makes you want to do something. So I think it's time we reconcile companies and society. So you may think that it's unnecessary because the story between companies and society is a love story. After all, we love buying their products. But in fact, the trust between consumers and companies has steadily gone down in some countries since the last 30 or 50 years. So no, it's not a love story. The grudge is even older and more structural. So what do we have? On the one hand, companies have become lately a massive transformative force of society. They bring products and services and innovation in our everyday life. So they change the way that we live our everyday life. If you think of a product lately that had an impact on you, think about the iPhone or perhaps Google Maps or a COVID vaccine, odds are it comes from a company. So companies have a very strong impact on you. But they are somehow deprived of the tools to understand how that impact actually does something to the way you experience life. They act as blind actors. And on the other hand, you have society. And society has built a tremendous amount of tools to understand itself. These are humanities. Humanities are the set of practices that allow us to understand the vast variety of the human phenomenon. Sociology, anthropology, philosophy. They're here to answer questions like, why are we here? What are we doing? Why do we do things together when we can do things on our own? But very often, the product of humanities is a thick book that ends up on the lonely shelf. Which is a shame, because that's exactly the kind of insights companies would need to understand the consequences of their actions on society. So what we have is, on the one hand, massive transformative power with scarce knowledge on society, and on the second hand, a lot of means to understand society. But these two just don't meet. So when I come and bring this subject up to companies, they generally answer with one of those two things. They'd say either but wait, we have a lot of information on society, like we have a lot of data. Or they come and they say two, but we do a lot for society already. We care about it a lot. Sadly, when you look at those two things closely, it turns out that they're not exactly true. So A, they say, but we have a lot of information about society. What's true is that we have a lot of data about society. The data we have about us has never been so big. But data and knowledge are two different things entirely. Think about data as a dead piece of information that slips somewhere and you can go and get it to navigate the world around you, just like GPS coordinates. But you wouldn't say that you know the city of Rome really well, even if you knew all the GPS coordinates of the city of Rome. It wouldn't make any sense. Knowledge is another thing entirely. When you start to know something, you create an attachment with it. Knowledge is binding. It makes you become a little bit the things you know. It's the reason why if you read the Wikipedia page about love or about grief, you haven't actually experienced love or grief. That's the reason why we say that we have known love or we have known grief. And when you've known love or grief, you have become that bit of love. You have become that grief. So, companies, you can have a lot of information about the world around you and know nothing about it. And two, they say, but we do a lot for society already. Well, it's true that a lot is made, but when you look at it closely, it has this kind of feeling that things are not made so as to come to heal the environment. They are rather made so that no one can come and tell you that you haven't done enough. If you think of, when you walk in the train stations and there's this little pond of water and then you have all of these black and yellow signs everywhere that tells you warning, it doesn't really feel like they're telling you, be careful, you're going to get hurt. It really feels like it's telling you, we have done so much to warn you that you can never come to us and say that we haven't done enough. It feels very self-redeeming and defensive. And I've seen this phenomenon so often that I had to come up with a name for it. I've called this lack of care by over-prevention. You do so much so that you can prove that you haven't done not enough. LOCBOP, lack of care by over-prevention. And all of this is actually the reason why we're standing here today and having this conversation. Because companies do not have the means to understand how they participate into the world. I'm standing in this beautiful theater in Paris, in La Scala, completely empty, and it shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't be here on that stage. I should be just there. And I should be having the life of my life. And I should be clapping. And on this stage, you should have hardworking, committed comedians doing this one beautiful thing that is a gift to our species. And acting symbolical thinking. But here we are, on that stage, having this conversation. And that's because zoonotic diseases, just like COVID-19, spread out when organizations, in spite of all warning, in spite of all deep knowledge of what they do, deforest and venture into animal habitat. So, what can we do about this? Well, there's a pretty simple solution. Hire people from humanities to work in your companies. But don't hire them so they can give you better insights and you can sell more product or manufacture more consent. Hire sociologists so they can tell you if you're not preying on the community you seek to help. Eventually, that may even ruin you. Hire philosophers to tell you how your culture actually has an impact over the way your employees raise their kids. Eventually, they're going to thank you. And hire anthropologists to test culturally what your products do over the world they spread out in. Eventually, we are not responsible for the products we put out there. We are responsible for the world these products enable. A lot of companies really want to become industries of life. But I'd say all companies already are industries of life because their products, their services, and their innovation actually have an impact over our life. So of course, a lot has been done, and you may already have a purpose or a mission, but you can have a purpose or a mission, and that purpose or that mission be crap. So how do we make sure that your purpose or your mission is actually fit? Well, you know that we become rapidly obsessed with the means to realize our end. I'd say it's time we wonder if the end justifies the mean, what justifies the end? My answer would be this. The mission of all missions, the purpose of all purposes, should be the habitability of the world. That's what we do. It's the only thing that matters. Make sure that the conditions be met so that a good life can take place. And for that good life to happen, we need to feel codependent of the world we participate in. We need to feel that if that world fails, we fail too. And it is my firm belief that knowledge brings care.